New York City, March 1965, 1:47 p.m. Central Park was quiet for a Monday afternoon. Cold. The kind of March cold that feels like winter refusing to let go. Most people stayed inside. Smart people, warm people, people who didn't have ghosts to visit. An old man sat on a bench, 71 years old, gray coat, military medals pinned to his chest. 5 of them, each one telling a story, each one bought with blood, with sacrifice, with things civilians would never understand. He had a guitar, not expensive, old, the kind of old that comes from surviving, from being carried across an ocean, through a war, through decades of being the only thing that connected him to what he'd lost, who he'd lost. He was playing, quietly, a song from 1944, the kind nobody remembered anymore, the kind that belonged to a generation that was dying, that was becoming memory, that would soon be nothing but photographs and medals and stories nobody wanted to hear. 4 young men walked past, British, well-dressed, the kind of young that doesn't understand old, that doesn't know what war takes, what it costs, what it leaves behind. One of them stopped, Paul McCartney, saw the medals, saw the guitar, saw the old man playing to nobody, for nobody, just playing because some songs need to be played, some memories need to be honored, even when the world has moved on. Paul turned to the others, gestured, "Look." And what happened in the next hour didn't just honor one World War II veteran. It reminded everyone watching that freedom has a cost, that the world they lived in was built on sacrifice, that old men with guitars and medals weren't relics. They were heroes, and heroes deserve to be remembered. But to understand why what the Beatles did for this veteran became legendary, why it made grown men cry, why it reminded a generation what gratitude looks like, you need to understand who this man was and what that guitar meant to him. His name was William Fraser, born 1894, Brooklyn, New York, enlisted in the Army in 1942, age 48, too old for combat. They told him so, but William lied, said he was 42 because his son had enlisted, 20 years old, and William wasn't going to let his boy go to war alone. They shipped out together, father and son, to Europe, to hell, to places that changed them in ways that couldn't be undone. William carried a guitar, a gift from his wife, Catherine. "So you remember there's beauty," she'd said, "even in war, even in darkness. There's always music, always beauty. Come home to me." William played that guitar every night, in barracks, in trenches, in moments between terror. His son James would sit beside him. Listen, remember, that there was a world beyond the war, a world worth fighting for, worth surviving for. They had a song, William and James, an old folk melody, simple, the kind fathers teach sons, the kind that means nothing to strangers and everything to family. William would play, James would sing, and for 3 minutes they weren't soldiers. They were father and son, still whole, still human, still believing they'd both come home. June 6, 1944, D-Day, Normandy. William and James went ashore together, promised each other, stay close, stay safe, come home together. James died on that beach, 20 years old, shot through the chest, died in his father's arms. Last words, "Play our song, Dad. When you get home, play it for Mom. Tell her I loved her. Tell her I was brave." William survived, carried his son's body off that beach, buried him in France, promised him, every year, on June 6th, "I'll play our song, I'll remember, I'll make sure the world knows you were here, that you mattered, that you gave everything." William came home in 1945, to Catherine, to Brooklyn, to a house that felt empty, a life that felt pointless, a world that had kept turning while his stopped on a beach in Normandy. Catherine died in 1963, cancer. Her last words, "Play for James. When I'm gone, play for both of us. Don't let us be forgotten." By March 1965, William was alone. His son dead 21 years, his wife dead 2 years. Everyone he'd loved was gone. But he still had the guitar, still had the song, still had the promise. Every Monday, Central Park, same bench, playing the song. For James, for Catherine, for the memory that they'd existed, that they'd loved, that they'd mattered. That Monday afternoon he was playing, quietly, not for an audience, for ghosts, for promises, for the understanding that some things must be remembered, even when remembering hurts. The four young men approached. The short one, Paul, spoke first. "Sir, I hope I'm not interrupting, but those medals, they're from the war, aren't they?" William looked up, saw four young faces, British accents, too young to understand, too young to know what those medals cost. "They are. World War II, Normandy, D-Day." "My uncle fought at Normandy," Paul said quietly. "Didn't come home. We never knew what happened. Just missing, presumed dead. Your medals. You were there. You survived." "Surviving isn't the same as living," William said. "But yes, I was there. I survived." John knelt down, eye level, the way you talk to equals, to people who deserve respect. "What song are you playing? It's beautiful, but I don't recognize it." "Nobody does. It's old. From before the war. My son and I used to play it, in the trenches, between battles. It reminded us there was something beyond the killing, something worth coming home to." His voice cracked. "He didn't come home, but I still play it. Every Monday. For him. For my wife. For the promise I made." George saw William's hands shaking, not from cold, from age, from decades of carrying weight nobody else could see. "Can we sit with you? Can we listen, properly?" "You don't have to do that. You're young. You have better things to do than listen to an old man play for ghosts." "There's nothing better," Ringo said, sitting on the ground. The others joined him. Four Beatles, sitting at the feet of a WWII veteran, listening, honoring, understanding that this man had given everything so they could sit in a park, playing music instead of fighting wars. William played the full song, 3 minutes that held 21 years of grief, of loss, of promises kept, of a father who'd watched his son die, of a husband who'd watched his wife fade, of a man who'd survived everything except loneliness. When he finished, all four Beatles were crying, not polite tears, real tears, the kind that come from understanding, from recognizing sacrifice, from being young and free and realizing that freedom was bought by old men who'd given everything. "What was his name?" Paul asked. "Your son." "James. James William Fraser, 20 years old, died June 6, 1944, Omaha Beach. Saved 3 men before he was hit. Died brave. Died a hero." "And your wife?" "Catherine. Catherine Marie Fraser. Died 1963. Cancer. 59 years old. Too young, too soon. But she waited for me. Through the war, through everything. Loved me even when I came home broken. Different. Haunted." Paul pulled out his wallet, took out a business card, wrote something on the back. "Sir, I don't know if you know who we are. We're the Beatles. We're musicians. And we'd like to do something, if you'll let us. We'd like to play James's song, your song. Not just here, everywhere. We'd like to record it, make sure it's not forgotten. Make sure James and Catherine are remembered, not just by you, by everyone." William stared at the card. "You're famous? Important?" "We're musicians," John said. "Nothing more, nothing less. But people listen to us. And if people are going to listen, they should hear songs that matter. Stories that matter. Your story matters. James matters. Catherine matters. Let us honor them, please." "Why would you do that? You don't know us. Don't know them." "Because you gave us everything," George said. "You fought so we could exist, so we could make music, so we could be young and free and stupid. You paid for our freedom with your son, with your wife, with your life. And the least we can do is remember, is make sure the world remembers that James Fraser wasn't just a name on a memorial. He was a 20-year-old who loved his father, who sang with him in trenches, who died brave. That deserves to be known." William was sobbing now. 21 years of holding it together, of playing alone, of being invisible. And 4 young men saw him, heard him, wanted to honor what he'd lost. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Paul said. "Let us play James's song. Let us tell his story. Let us make sure he's remembered." "Yes, yes, please, please remember him. Please let the world know he existed, that he mattered, that he gave everything." The Beatles set up right there, in Central Park, Monday afternoon, borrowed a microphone from a street vendor, called a friend to bring recording equipment, and they played James's song, the one William had played in trenches, the one James had sung, the one that connected father and son across death, across decades, across grief. As they played, people gathered, hundreds of them, saw the Beatles, saw the old man crying, saw the medals, understood they were witnessing something sacred, not a concert, a memorial, a tribute, a promise kept. When they finished, Paul spoke to the crowd. This is William Fraser, WWII veteran, D-Day survivor. His son James died at Omaha Beach in 1944, age 20. This was their song, the song they played together, the song that reminded them why they were fighting. James didn't come home, but William did. And he's played this song every Monday for 21 years. For James, for his wife Catherine, for the promise that they won't be forgotten. And we're here today to honor that promise, to make sure James Fraser is remembered, not just by his father, by all of us, by everyone who benefits from the freedom he died for. The crowd went silent. Then someone started clapping, slow, deliberate, then another, then everyone, 400 people, applauding a 71-year-old veteran, honoring James, honoring Catherine, honoring sacrifice. An old man in the crowd, mid-70s, stepped forward. Military uniform, different medals, different war, but same understanding. He saluted William, sharp, precise, the way soldiers salute heroes. William stood, saluted back. Two old warriors, recognizing each other, honoring each other, understanding what they'd lost, what they'd given, what they carried. Then another veteran stepped forward, and another, 7 of them, all old, all wearing medals, all saluting William, all honoring James, all remembering wars the young people in the crowd had never known, had never understood, had never appreciated. Paul addressed them all. Gentlemen, would you join us? Would you play with us? Would you help us honor all the James Frasers, all the sons and daughters who didn't come home, all the sacrifices that bought our freedom? They did. 7 WW2 veterans, 4 Beatles, playing together, for James, for Catherine, for every name on every memorial, for every family that waited for someone who never came home, for every old man with medals and memories and songs nobody else remembered. The recording of that performance was never commercially released. The Beatles kept it private, sacred. They gave copies to William, to the other veterans, to families of fallen soldiers, to military museums, to places that honored sacrifice instead of exploiting it. But the story spread. Newspapers, television, radio. Beatles honor WWII veteran in Central Park. Music legends play for fallen hero. James Fraser remembered after 21 years. William Fraser died in 1968, age 74. They found him in his apartment, peacefully, the guitar beside him, Paul McCartney's card in his wallet, a smile on his face. At his funeral, the Beatles performed. All 4 of them. James's song. The recording played afterward. William playing, the Beatles accompanying, 7 old veterans standing. Everyone crying, understanding that William had finally gone home. To James, to Catherine, to the people he'd been playing for all along. On his headstone, his daughters had inscribed, William Fraser, loving father, devoted husband, WW2 hero. He kept his promise, he remembered, and now he's remembered too. Years later, Paul was asked about that day. Do you remember William Fraser? Every detail, Paul said, because he taught me what sacrifice means, what love means, what promises mean. He lost his son at 20, lost his wife at 59, and he still played their song. Every Monday, for 21 years, not for recognition, for love, for memory, for the promise that they mattered. That's the kind of devotion I aspire to. That's the kind of love that changes the world. March 1965, a WW2 veteran played guitar in Central Park. The same guitar he'd carried through war, the same song he'd played in trenches. For his son who died, for his wife who waited, for the promise he'd made to remember. And the Beatles stopped, listened, honored him, recorded his song, made sure James Fraser wasn't forgotten, made sure William Fraser's promise was kept. If you're over 65, if you served, if you lost someone, if you carry memories the young can't understand, this story is for you. You're William Fraser, and what you gave, what you lost, what you carry matters. The world forgot, but some of us remember, some of us understand, some of us are grateful. Keep playing your songs, keep honoring your promises, keep remembering the people who didn't come home, because that's what heroes do. They remember, they honor, they keep promises even when it hurts. That's everything. Look, if this story moved you, especially if you're a veteran, if you're over 65, if you lost someone who never came home, do me a favor, hit that like button. Share this with someone who served, who sacrificed, who deserves to be remembered. We've got 77 Beatles stories now, stories that prove music isn't just entertainment, it's memory, it's tribute, it's honoring the people who gave everything so we could be free. Drop a comment and let me know, did you serve? Did you lose someone? Do you have a song that reminds you? Turn those notifications on because these stories honor you, your service, your sacrifice, your memory. Remember, freedom isn't free. It's bought by people like William and James Fraser, and it's our job to remember them, always.